Hey guys, so I'm gonna do this video a little bit different than I normally do. Usually I'm on the iPad with the Apple Pencil and everything, but this time I actually printed out a paper copy and I'm gonna work this out and show you my huge hands. Um, you are taking a quiz today. Today's goal is just a quiz, nothing else. I'm not going to give you a bunch of videos to watch and all that other stuff. And in fact, you don't even really have to watch this video if you don't want to. This is a review. So I took the quiz. I made a lot of the same types of questions that are on the quiz. There's 16 total, but on the quiz, there's only, I think, 14 questions. So I put a few extra on this review. But anyway, so I have posted this to Schoology, this piece of paper, this review. So if you have access to a printer at home and you'd like to print it and follow along with me in this video as a way to review, and then what you could do is use this and have it in front of you while you take your quiz. Wouldn't that be nice? So again, I recommend you printing this and following along. Now, if you don't have a printer at home, just grab a notebook, grab a piece of paper. Yes, it's gonna suck when you have to graph and you don't have graph paper, but you can work it out, okay? Do what you gotta do. So I'm going to review the type of material you're going to see on your quiz. And also the nice thing about doing the video this way is I can show you how to type stuff into a calculator if you happen to have one of these. If not, sorry, I can't loan out my classroom set. It's just the way it is. But I can show you how you can sort of let your calculator do the work for you if you wanted to. All right, so number one here. First, actually these first four problems says find the axis of symmetry and vertex for each equation. So if you notice, there are no graphs, so I don't need to be graphing this. The directions don't say to graph it. I just need to find those two pieces of information. So here we go, starting with axis of symmetry. X equals negative b over 2a. So like I said before, it's a little bit easier if you go ahead and label what these numbers are from the get-go. So this will be your a. Anything in front of x squared is a. What's in front of x is b, and the term that does not have an x is c. So if I take these numbers and plug them into this equation, I'll get my axis of symmetry. So negative b, my b is already negative, it's a negative 4, so that will turn it positive. And then over 2a, a is negative 2, so this is 2 times negative 2. Okay, so we have 4 divided by negative 4, which is negative 1. Okay, so axis of symmetry, x equals negative 1. To find my vertex, this number is only part of my vertex. It's only my x coordinate. I need a y coordinate. So I'm going to take this number and plug it back into here. So again, I'm going to rewrite this equation and just leave open to parentheses wherever there's an x, and then go in and plug this number. So y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 1. Okay, so if you compare it, negative 2x squared, negative 4x plus 1. I'm going to go ahead and plug in a negative 1. All right, so I'm going to pause here and show you how you can just go ahead and type this into your calculator. I got to move the paper so I can see it. I'm sorry. So it was negative 2, and then the same way you have parentheses on your paper, got to do that here, okay? So parentheses, and you're plugging in a negative 1 squared, okay? The little arrow, this little up arrow is how you do squared, or you could have used this, same thing. Let's see, I'm sorry. Minus 4 times negative 1, parentheses. And then it was plus 1 at the end. So letting your calculator do it for you is very nice, as long as you remember to put parentheses in here. Okay, so we've got 3. All right, so my axis of symmetry, I didn't leave a lot of space for this, did I? I'll put it up here. Axis of symmetry, x equals negative 1. Vertex, negative 1, 3. There you go. I can highlight my answers here. As soon as I highlight it, it's going to smear the ink. I know it is. Watch this. It's going to smear. I hate when it does that. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves because now I probably have ink in my highlighter. Whatever. There we go. -1 and then -1, 3. Number 2, again, labeling A, B, and C is going to be helpful. So in this case, A is just the negative here. It's -1. So A, B is -6, and C is -6. A, B, C. All right, so X equals -B. B is already negative in the equation, so it turns positive. So 6 all over 2A. A is -1. So this is 6 divided by -2, which turns out to be -3. So there's my axis of symmetry. X equals -3. And I'll write it over here. Axis of symmetry. X equals -3. Okay. Now we have to plug it in for the vertex so we can find the y coordinate. So again, I'm going to copy down this equation, leave open parentheses. Y equals negative, then x squared. See how I put the negative outside the parentheses? Minus 6x minus 6. And the x I'm plugging in was this -3. So -3, -3. Again, if you'd like to let good old calculator do it for you. Let me see. I should zoom it out a little bit. Okay, so we'd have, my computer's starting to fall asleep. Negative, parentheses, -3 squared. Okay, I'm just typing in what I see over here. See where my finger is? Minus 6 times -3 in parentheses, minus 6, 3. Okay, so axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Vertex, -3, 3. There you go. I'm not going to highlight it this time. I'm just going to box it because I don't want to get ink in my highlighter. All right. Number 3, again, labeling A, B, and C. Let me zoom back in for you. A is -1, B is 2, C is -3. So we're going to find our axis of symmetry first. So x equals -b. This time b is positive, so making it -b, -2. All over 2a, which is -1. So -2 divided by -2, it's +1. So that's what we're going to take and plug back into the original. Y equals -x squared plus 2x minus 3. All right, so I've shown you how to put this in the calculator. I'm not going to use the calculator this time. I'm going to kind of show you how you can, use your brain to do this. So 1 squared would be +1, and then you apply the negative out in front. So this will be 1 and then negative. So -1. 2 times 1 is 2, so +2. Now we're at 1. Minus 3. 1 minus 3, -2. All right. So 1, -2. Okay, so axis of symmetry, x equals 1, and then vertex, 1, -2. Okay. Okie dokie. Last one. Again, A, B, and C. All right. X equals -b, so -6 all over 2a, -1. So -6 over -2, +3. All right, plugging it back in. Y equals -x squared plus 6x minus 5. Okay, again, I'm not going to use calculator. I want you guys to get into the habit of thinking for yourselves and not relying on your calculator all the time. So 3 squared would be 9, and then you apply the negative out in front. It's like multiplying by a -1. You always do multiplying after exponent. So exponent first, this would be 9, then the negative. So -9. 6 times 3 plus 18. So negative 9 plus 18, we're at 9. 9 minus 5, 4. So, axis of symmetry, AOS, x equals 3. Vertex, 3, 4. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. So there's the first 4. Oops, I didn't mean to like darken the screen. There you go. All right, so now we're gonna start graphing. So I have 2 examples that are in standard and then 2 examples that are in vertex form. You're gonna have to know both for the quiz, all right? There won't be all 4 problems of it, but you do need to know how to do both. So starting with 5, I need to have a table. Okay, I'll put it down here. And then we will fill in everything. So I'll need to be finding axis of symmetry, vertex, domain, range. Okay, that's the 4 things you usually have to list. All right, here we go. Negative b over 2a. So x equals b in this case. Does it still help if I label them? A, B, C. Okay, so b is, why is it every time I try to zoom in, it darkens the screen? All right, b is negative, so change it, make it positive. Negative b over 2a. A is 1. So it's just 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So axis of symmetry, x equals 1. And that's the first part of my vertex. So I can kind of fill that in and come back to it in a minute. And remember, that always goes in the middle of my table. So that'll be like about right there. Okay, so let's plug in 1 and see what we get. I like to sort of either do this part in my head or do it on a calculator. It really doesn't matter. 1 squared is 1. Negative 2. Sorry if you saw that. Negative 2 times 1, negative 2. Someone's texting me and it's coming in on my iPad. Minus 3. Okay, so 1 minus 2, negative 1, minus 3 is negative 4. So 1, negative 4 is my vertex. All right, I need to plug in a few more numbers. Remember, we go 2 higher, 2 lower. Okay, so I have plenty of space down here where I can plug these in if I want. So I'll do 0 and 1. Remember, it's symmetry, so I can just kind of fill it in as I go. You know what? It's okay. I'll do it up here. 0 and negative 1. So 0 squared would be 0. Negative 2 times 0 would be 0. And then minus 3. So 0 and 0, this is still 0. Minus 3 is negative 3. So going down to my table. 0, negative 3, 2, negative 3. All right, and then negative 1. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. When you square negative, guys, it's positive. Okay. Negative 2 times negative 1 would be positive 2. Okay, and then minus 3 at the end. So this is going to be 3 minus 3, which is 0. All right, I have a table. I can graph. Let's grab this red pen over here. 1, negative 4. 2, negative 3, and 0. Negative 3, and then 3, 0, and negative 1, 0. Here you go. I'm not much better at this on paper than I am on the iPad. Actually, that was okay. That was pretty good. I'm not mad at it. All right, domain. Left to right forever. Like I said in that one video, these will always go left and right. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's going up more than anything, and that's true, but it's also kind of slightly gonna, expand out to the sides as it goes up. Very slightly, but you can tell that it will. So all real numbers. And then domain depends on your vertex. So the lowest my vertex goes on my y-axis, because remember, domain goes with y, all your y values. So negative 4 up to infinity. Okay, there we go. Number 6. And yeah, I'm going to do every single one of these problems. I know, it sucks. All right, we need a table. I can honestly do it over here on the side. Axis of symmetry, vertex, domain, range. All right, here we go. Number 6. To get my axis of symmetry, that's the negative b over 2a. So b is 4, so negative 4, whoops, negative 4, all over 2 times a, which is negative 2. So this is negative 4 divided by negative 4, which is 1. Okay, so axis of symmetry, x equals 1. It's the first part of my vertex, and I can put it in my table. Now we have to plug 1 in to get the rest of this. So here we go. Now follow along with this, okay? Like I said before, PEMDAS says exponent first, then multiply by the negative 2. So this first term here, you need to be careful. So we're plugging in a 1. 1 squared is 1, and then times negative 2 is negative 2. So we'll have, I'll do it over here, negative 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1. All right, negative 2 plus 4 is 2, plus another 1 is 3. 1, 3. There we go. All right, in my table, 2 higher. 2 lower. Okay, I'm going to go with 0 and negative 1 again. So 0, if we plug in 0, 0 squared is 0. Then times negative 2 is still 0. 4 times 0 is still 0, plus 1. So that's just 1. So we have 0, 1, 2, 1. Over here in my table, plug in my 1 and do symmetry. Now I'm going to plug in negative 1. So negative 1 squared will come out positive. When you square a negative, it's positive. So this will be positive 1 times negative 2. So negative 2. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, plus 1 at the end. So this will be negative 6, plus 1 is negative 5. Okay, let's graph this guy. 1, 3. 2, 1, and 0, 1. This guy's flipped upside down, which makes sense because that flips it. And then 3, 2, 3, negative 5. 1, 2. Okay, symmetry. So putting it over right here. I'm so bad at parabolas. Okay, domain, all real numbers. And range depends on your vertex. So the highest the vertex went was up to 3. So we're negative infinity up to 3. And then it has the turning point and it moves and goes back down. But when you read this left to right, you go up to 3 from negative infinity. So negative infinity to 3. All right, vertex form on the back. This is the nice, easy one. You don't have to do negative b over 2a. It should be really, really quick. All right, so I still need to make my table. Axis of symmetry, vertex, domain, range. All right, vertex and axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is just whatever h is. So in my equation, if you guys remember the vertex form, it looks like y equals x minus h squared plus k, right? Technically, there's an a here in front. But anyway, so h is what tells you your axis of symmetry. In this case, your h is a 3. We need to change the sign because the signs don't match up. So it'll be a negative 3. So axis of symmetry, x equals negative 3. That's the first part of my vertex. Negative 3 in my table. Look, I don't even have to do any math. I just have to look. The other part is my k. It's going up 1. So 1, 1. Look at that. So much quicker and easier. Still have to fill out the table though. So higher would be negative 2, negative 1, then negative 4, negative 5. 2 higher, 2 lower. So let's plug in negative 2. Here we go. Where should I do this? I'll do it over here if I write small. 2 times negative 2 plus 3 squared plus 1. And then I'm plugging in negative 1. So 2 times negative 1 plus 3 squared plus 1. All I did was I took the negative 1 and the negative 2 and I plugged them in for x. Okay? So for negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, now we'll do the negative 1. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Square it, it's 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. All right. Negative 3, 1 is your vertex. 1, 2, 3, up 1. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3. Negative 4, 3. And then negative 1, 9. My graph only goes up to 8, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it a little bit higher than 8. Most of my graphs, when I make them, they only go up to 8. So there you go. It was a little wobbly over here. Oopsie, but you get the idea. Domain, all real numbers. Range. Oh gosh. 1 to infinity. Okay. Number 4. I'm sorry. Why did I say 4? That's number 8. Whoa. Someone's having a weird, kind of funky morning, huh? All right, XY. Table. Okay. So axis of symmetry is just whatever h is. Remember, it should be x minus h. This is a plus 4, so we have to change the sign around. Axis of symmetry, x equals negative 4. Okay, that is my first point to the vertex. I'll put that in the table. Vertex, negative 4. And then k is the y coordinate in your vertex. There's no k here. There's no plus anything at the end. Remember how there was a plus 1 here? That would be k. No k, so 0. Ta-da! All right, let's pick some more numbers from my table and plug them in. Every time, I'm telling you, it turns down the brightness. All right, bigger numbers, negative 3, negative 2. Smaller numbers, negative 5, negative 6. All right, so let's plug in the negative 3 and negative 2. It's a little bit easier. Here we go. Negative 3. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. 1 squared is 1. And then there's a negative. Okay. Then plug in negative 2. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. Squared is 4. Then the negative in front. Negative 4. All right, graphing. Negative 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 3, negative 1. And then negative 2, negative 4. There we are. Flipped upside down because it led with a negative out in front. All right. Oh, I forgot domain and range. Domain, all real numbers. Range, 0 to, actually negative infinity to 0. Negative infinity to 0. All right. I would stop the video because I don't want it to be too long, but I think I can get through these bottom questions pretty quickly. So without graphing, no graphs, just describe the transformation from the parent function. Remember, your parent function looks like this, just y equals x squared. So basically you want to look at hk, and then if there's a leading coefficient, tell me what all that stuff means. So when I look at number 9, here's your vertex form. I'll write that for you as well. So from looking at this, I see H is my horizontal movements, left or right. Positive 2, a lot of people usually think that would be right, but because of the sign issue, it would mean left. So this is going to go left 2, and then K tells me up and down. Positive 3 goes up, up 3. There's no reflection because there's no negative, nothing else. All right, number 10. Again, H tells me horizontal left and right. We have a negative 4 here. Really, it's just a 4. So this is going to go right. Remember, it's opposite of what you think. I would see a -4 and think left, but remember, it's just a +4 goes right. And then up 4. And then I see a negative out in front, so reflected. All right. Oopsie, I didn't know you didn't see it. All right, 11. All right, so the 1/2 in front means that this is going to be a compression. Okay, it's going to compress. So compress by a factor of 1/2. Then, let's see, H tells me left or right. This is going to go left 2. Left 2. And down 1. K is negative, so down 1. All right, 12. The 3, it's bigger than 1, so that would be a stretch this time. So stretched by a factor of 3. Reflected. And then right 1 and down 2. Try to fit it on the paper. All right, down 2. Okay, so on your quiz, for these questions, it'll have the same directions, you know, describe what's happening, the transformation. I'll give you an equation and you just type like left, up, down, whatever, okay? Given the these are the last 4. Given the transformations listed below, now you're going to write an equation. So it's kind of the reverse of this. You were given the equation and you had to write what was happening. Now they're going to tell you what was happening and you write the equation. So it's kind of flip-flopped. All right, so 13. Translated 5 units down. There's no left, there's no right. So that means there's no H. So we just have y equals x squared, because there's no H. 5 units down, -5. That would be your K at the end. Okay. 14. 3 units right, so H will be -3. And then 5 units up, so 5, that's a 7. Oh my God. 7 units up will be +7 at the end. There's no reflection, there's no stretch or compress, so we just have y equals x -3 squared, there's your 3 units right, +7, 7 units up. Number 15, this one does say reflected over the x-axis, so we're going to have a negative in front. Then translated 4 units left, that'll be +4 for H. H does left and right. So y equals, here's your negative for the flip, the reflection, x +4 squared. No K because there's no up or down. Okay. And then 16, vertically stretched by a factor of 2, okay, and then translated 2 left and 6 down. So there's nothing about a reflection. So y equals, here's your factor of 2 in the front. Then 2 units left will be +2 for H. So x +2. And then 6 units, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the squared. Then 6 units down, -6. All right, I did it in under 30 minutes. Woohoo, I was hoping I would. So I will give you guys, I don't know, probably about like 30 minutes also. Maybe I'll make it 40 just to give you a little easier time. I know it seems like if I could do it in 30 minutes, it'd be crazy for you to do it in 30 minutes. But remember, there won't be as many problems. I put extra problems on the review. So I'll probably give you like 35, 40 minutes when I set a timer to this quiz, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. You can use this. If you did this on paper, you can use it. Now you need to head on over and get your quiz done. You have until 3 o'clock, so good luck.